I now call Deputy Michael McNamara, sharing with Deputies and Phelan and Dominic Hannigan.
Thank you, Lascan Corla.
I just say to the Deputy we will be adjourning this debate at 2:15.
Well, on that basis, I can, if I see Deputies Phelan or Hannigan coming into the chamber, I'll stop short. Otherwise, I suppose I will take the 5 minutes. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Lascan Corla, for the floor and the opportunity to speak on this very important matter, which affects communities, both rural and urban, right
Sorry,
across.
Deputy, just point out that you don't have to conclude at 2:15. I should have said that. We're adjourning the debate at 2:15.
Oh,
yeah. But I think you have 10 minutes, so you can 5 now and five again.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, I just wish to reiterate my thanks for the opportunity to speak on this issue, which affects communities, both rural and urban, across this country. I suppose I was reading the N versus the HSE judgment earlier this morning, or at least parts of it, in light of the upcoming referendum, and I was struck by the reference to the Book of Kings and the exercise of wisdom required by decision makers in certain circumstances. And I think it is a wisdom of that nature is required of the Minister for Finance as we can come to the conclusion of this stage of the bill and move towards the next one. As I said, the credit union movement is of tremendous value to, I think, all sectors of society across this country. Yet there are problems with credit unions. Credit unions, like almost every other sector of society, got carried away during the boom, and clearly there is a requirement to regulate credit unions to ensure most fundamentally that members whose monies are saved with the credit unions, that they are able to receive interest in that, and that their monies are safe, and that those who volunteer and participate in credit unions can do so safe in the knowledge that that which they are participating in is properly regulated and above board. Of course, in 2009, I suppose I suppose what's the expression that you can see what everybody is wearing when the tide goes out? Well, in 2009, it was very much the tide was going out, and a lot of financial institutions were appearing increasingly naked, or appearing. It was evident that they didn't have that they had that the investments which they had made were insufficient, and that there wasn't sufficient monies in many instances to meet the needs of those institutions. That, I suppose, to a large extent, is why this state is in the position it's in now. Unfortunately, credit unions, like other areas, were not immune from that. In the Irish League of Credit Unions reports of 2009, it was clear that there were problems in some credit unions. Nevertheless, I would not like to see all credit unions branded with the necessity, or sorry, branded with those who were overly flahoolic with money, and more importantly with the monies of others during the good times. Nevertheless, in these more difficult times, the needs for credit unions is even greater than ever. I mean, 2002, I suppose, during the boom, 240 new people experienced financial difficulty, and 200 existing clients received assistance from Clare MABs. This jumped dramatically to 640 new and 600 current dependents last year. I, along with the Minister for Social Protection, Joan Burton, had the honour to attend a launch of a new information leaflet, Say No to Doorstop Credit in Ennis, only 2 weeks ago, and it's part of a joint initiative between MABS, the Citizens Information Service, St Vincent de Paul, and the credit union to assist people in financial difficulties. The leaflet points out that borrowing €500 from doorstep credit can cost approximately €650 only a half a year later. So it is exactly those type of practices which the credit unions were set up to prevent, and to enable people who, before the advent of credit unions and before credit unions became widespread across this country, were reliant upon loan sharks and money lenders to finance their day-to-day activities. So while acknowledging the need to regulate credit unions, we shouldn't lose sight of the very important social function which credit unions carry out in our society. Indeed, a social function which is, I suppose, ironically, as we now, in these difficult times, realise the necessity to regulate credit unions, that the function that they carry out becomes more important now than it was in times when they weren't regulated.
Thank you. Could I ask you, Deputy, to move the adjournment of the debate?
I so move.